Hello everyone and welcome to another Brothers War draft with well a pretty like an even quality first pack. There are many cards you could pick here and nothing too strong. There's not like a premium first pickable common here. I know things like Boulder Branch Golem can be really good, but it's still not in every deck. I mean, not in even every green deck you necessarily want to have this. There are some aggressive green archetypes that maybe don't have that many Power Stone token production, which makes the 7-drop a little hard to cast maybe sometimes, and the 4-mana version of this card isn't good. It's nice fail safe when you don't get to 7 mana, but it's not really a card I'm that happy to first pick. You could take the Fauna Shaman. It's of course a passable 2-drop in terms of being a 2-mana 2/2, and then if you get some nice toolbox of creatures, you can maybe tutor for them. You could take the Foundry Inspector, even the Thopter, maybe the Infiltrator if you really want to force a sacrifice right away. I'm gonna take the rare here. The Ursa by the 3-drop isn't that good. Mostly because even though looting is nice, and maybe you sometimes actually can loot some artifacts without feeling bad about it. Usually you want to, of course, loot away excess lands. It will produce, of course, those Power Stone tokens, but the problem with the Ursa is that it's a 3-mana 1/3. Yes, it has Vigilance, so it can attack for a bit, but it's very small creature, and when your opponent plays like a 3-mana 3/2s and stuff like that, you can't even block with it and trade, so it's not really a good card. So I'm gonna take the Iconoclast here. It is the strongest card. There's no reason for me to stick to green just because I took the Fauna Shaman, and it's not like I'm gonna second pick a Giant Growth or the Prowler here. There's some Elsewhere Flask here. A fairly big pack, but of course after this Iconoclast, this is a totally first pickable card, an amazing token producer if you get this to be in the open colors, because of course it's not really a card you're happy to splash, because you want this to come down early when you still have spells to cast. So ideally blue-red is going to be the color combination for this card. Now this is an interesting pack though, because I see here basically two options for me. Now there are some nice cards like the Emergency World, always gonna be good. The Blast Runner is gonna be good if Black Red Sacrifice is open. I already passed the Gigs and Infiltrator, so if I actually first pick that thing, I might even just take the Blast Runner here. There's another Ursa which I'm not interested in. But the options here I see basically are the Ocean Dissident and the Weakstone's Subjugation. Now the Subjugation of course works very well with the Iconoclast. Defensive card who triggers the Iconoclast is of course in the same colors. But the Dissident is going to be better card. But of course it's two colors. I have one green card already. I think I'm going to go for the power here. I will allow myself to draft either green, white or blue, red, or of course still something else could be drafted too. But at this early in the draft, it's better to take the powerful cards, because I can leave without the blue removal spell. It's decent, but it's not really like a excavation explosion quality removal spell. So even if I am blue-red in the end, I don't mind that much about passing that thing. Now this pack is really good still. Now the green-white deck is actually one where I usually don't think the Boulder Branch Golem is such a high pick, so I'm not picking that. If I'm playing green-white, I actually think the Frontliner and the Stalwart are both better than the Boulder Branch Golem. For the Iconoclast, there is a Stern Lesson and a Pendragon Strongbull, both decent options, and Snare nicely with this because of course these the Iconoclast makes things that this can sacrifice. But I think I'll go for the maximum aggression here. This Frontliner also triggers the Dissident, and I haven't really played a lot of decks that have the Frontliner, so I wanna see if that could work. But now I get this pack here. Not really anything from green or white I'm happy to have. Now there is a card I'm happy to have in a green-white deck. It's the Ironheart's Wings, which I would definitely take over the Lay Down Arms here. This is more like a defensive card, and yeah, I'm not a big fan of running it in green-white, because yeah, green-white is an aggressive archetype in this set. So the Wings is of course nice, it triggers the Dissident, but the reason I'm not snap picking it is that I usually can get Wings later in the draft, and the Wing Commander is actually a very nice card in the deck that replaces the Iconoclast they want to have. prowess and this thing basically are kind of the same thing. So I'm gonna take this because I assume I might get wings later on, and if blue-red turns out to being more open than green-white, I definitely should, take the actually good blue card. Here I think it starts to be, well, sadly, I can't say anything is that much open. This pack has only mediocre cards. Like recommission is good in green-white, and the infantry is, I think, playable in the blue-red deck, but it is better in sacrifice decks maybe, because this creates two things to sacrifice. Bitter Reunion also good in the sacrifice archetype, which I'm not in. Of course, I don't have any black. I'll take the recommission here now, and kind of start shifting towards green-white based on my picks now. Okay, and then there is a Mightstones animation, which is of course great in blue-red. Well, I guess I'll take that because there's not really, there's like a playable trick. This is one drop I'm not going to play. I guess there's like a scenario where you can sideboard this in, but it's not really a good pick. The Razor Bar and the Galliot are not really the kind of cards you want to be running in a green-white deck. So I'm going to take the Mightstones animation, which is the best card in the pack, and I can still be blue-red. So this is sometimes how drafts go. You don't get a clear signal about what's going to be open, and then you just take the best cards. I'm at least happy I have kind of two good roads here. I can still be like blue-white. It's not I can ignore these golden cards. I can be blue-white, but I kind of want to. Well, I guess I don't have anything else that's red, so maybe I'm not going to be blue-red. But anyway, I'm not too sad about how the draft has started here. I think these black cards are better here than anything else, but I can take the Ripostate at least. Not a card I usually main deck in green-white, but it's a good sideboard card against other aggressive decks. I'm not that into the Demolishers here, so let's take this thing. Okay, nothing for blue-red. There's a little bit for black. These are all fine. Actually, the Stalker can be really good if you have the proper synergy for it, but yeah, I'm not taking the black stuff. I'm not gonna take the artifact. Do I need another riposte? I guess I could play another one of those. I could play the Thopter Architect, but I have not really a lot of artifacts now. I could play just a Recluse, but I don't like it. I guess I'll take the Architect here for now. I haven't really tried it. I think it's a bit weak because it's so small for a 4-drop. But it can be a powerful ability if you have a lot of artifacts. Yep, I'll take the Giant Growth. It's at least, a decent card to run in a green-white deck. And okay, the Blast Runner came back, so no one is drafting this sacrifice deck. Alright, well, now I can take the riposte. I know there's the Paul Bearer, but I'm not really looking to pick such an expensive card for what I'm having. I'm actually very happy about the Stalwart here. I think this was the pack where I said I took the frontliner over the Stalwart. Now I'm getting back the Stalwart. So this could be still a decent deck. If pack 2 and 3 give me a little bit of powerful options for the green-white archetype. I don't care about the Razor Maw. I'm just taking the uncommon. I guess I can now take the Pole Bearer and this thing, and I should cut the blue now, unless these packs makes me change my mind. Battery Bearer. There's an option for blue-green. I have 1, 2, 3. I have a lot of white here, so come on, what does this pack have for me? At least there are two things. I was very sad first because the uncommons and the rare don't suit these picks, but there's actually a very nice common in the Prison Sentence. And also there's an Iron Arch Wings, which I would take it if this Prison Sentence was something that's bad. I don't think there's any reason to try to even consider, green-red or blue-green because of those two cards. Yeah, I'm gonna take the Prison Sentence here now. I do actually want to find some artifacts for the Dissident. I have actually only one, and I don't even have any ETB. Yeah, nothing comes with an artifact here. Okay, Levitating Statue is good, but so is the Cohort, so is the Opportunist. Excavation, Explosion, Lantern. Yeah, this pack has a lot of cards I would be happy running, but I think the Cohort is the best for this deck now. Yep, it's double triggers for the Dissident and just an excellent card all over, but maybe I can get one of these later on. Sometimes I've seen the statue go late, but I think it's in a lot of decks you will have like a 10 non-creatures and the statue is going to be quite nice there. There's going to be some nice black and red removal for those draft. There's the Refractor is also a card I might even play here, but yeah, let's take the 4-drop. There's actually no question about picking that card, and wow, I'm passing more of this good red stuff, but I have here a Cohort and the Jadecrafter Mask, also the Chapline, but I would take either of these artifacts over it. There's also an Evolving Wilds, which is always nice, but I mean, it's just between these two artifacts now. The Jadecrafter Mask can be really good, but man, isn't this just great? Which is this deck's preferred card? Because they are both so good. I don't think I have that much Power Stone, so it maybe makes the mask a little bit worse than it can be in some other decks. So I'm gonna just take the Cohort, but you can take either of those and it's gonna be a great pick regardless. Okay, there's a Mistral's Research Desk and there's a Scrapwork Mat. There's also a Disenchant for sideboard. These are pretty bad. Blanchwood Armor. I mean, if I would be mono green, I would play Armor because even though it comes with the risk of getting 2 for 1, this can also just win the game because if you give like +5/+5 to a creature, that can be pretty fast clock. So I think I prefer the 2-drop here over the desk, but both are fine options, and now I might want to. I already have one way to make red mana, maybe I can find more. But let's be happy about the Mat pick here now. I already have found some number of artifacts for my Dissident here. Now this is continuing to be a very decent set of packs here. There's another Frontliner, there's a Shootdown for sideboard, but there's an Energy Refractor. Also for red, there's a Stone Seeker and a Great Worm. Now I don't think the Great Worm is really something you want to splash. It does create you Power Stones even when the opponent plays lands, but mostly it's just a 6 mana 7/6 trample. A little bit better than a Colossal Dreadmaw. I don't think it's really worth the splash here. I'm not gonna Mythic Rare pick it now. I think I might go for the maximum aggression here. I could take the Refractor to splash for the for the red unearth cost I have in my deck, but I take another Frontliner now, and maybe if I find some more pump spells, I can keep attacking with the Frontliner. It is 2 triggers basically thanks to the unearth for the Dissident. Now I would really want to have another Dissident if that was opened in the draft and passed to me. But I think this is pretty decent start now. How about here? Is the Loran already having enough things to return? It might actually. Do I have any other legendary creatures? No, I don't. For further triggers, you could take the Amulet here, but I think here I'm gonna take the Disciple of History because I have a couple of Frontliners. I have a Mat and the double Cohort. That's 5 things I can return already, and I can find more. Now this thing is actually worth considering a splash, but given my 4-drops, I don't think I care about it. I might not play, by the way, the Architect, at least in the main deck. I could see sideboarding it in, but against some decks the 4 mana 2/3 is just too slow. When I need some actual flyers, I might play the Architect, but I'm gonna cut it from the main deck for now. But I think I'm going to take the Amulet now. The Sigil is, I don't like it that much. I'll take the Amulet, it's gonna be a fine pick. Also something I'm happy to return with the Disciple of History. Another Stalwart, I think it's a really easy pick now. That's already 2 red sources for the 1 Mat. Yep, this is a little bit mana intensive. I'm not gonna take that thing. It is good with the Unearthers because you can continue replaying the Unearthers because of how it's worded. Okay, do I want to play this funny trick? I have only 1 trick currently. I might actually want to have some non-creatures. I am at 11 creatures and 3 non-creatures. I'm gonna pick it. I'm not interested in the sideboard demolition field or something like that. I can take the Tinkering, maybe not main deck it right now. Soul Guide Lantern. Yeah, I don't need any more 1-drops. I have actually 4 1-drops already, so the Survivor is kind of unnecessary. I'll take the Lantern for more artifact triggers, but yes, I do understand I have only one thing that actually cares about artifact triggers. I have the Loran though, which returns artifacts. Okay, I'm taking the Evolving Wilds over the Recluse, which is not. It's a defensive card, which this deck doesn't really require. Blanchwood Armor now. sideboarding it in. I have 2 riposters. I'm not gonna need a third one. I'm gonna take these for some weird situation where I actually want to sideboard it in. Shoot down is a nice sideboard card to pick up. Another tinkering, sure, why not? Okay, one more pack. Okay, I think this is the third stone brain I see in this draft, unless I saw one of them twice. You know, it coming around the table, but yeah, I would have preferred to get some better rares. Alright, this pack is still very nice for me. Do I want to have this 3-mana flyer just for curve reasons? Because you really want to curve out with these kind of decks. Because they are better cards. There's the pacifism, and then there's the epic confrontation. But I think I want to go 1-drop, 2-drop, 3-drop with this deck as often as I can. And this is evasive threat also, another artifact, which, you know, I guess I have enough ways to trigger this thing now. I just need more payups for having artifacts. But I'm going to actually take this over the 2 removal spells, which would have been the next options there. Powerstone Engineer, I still don't think I like it as much as the Sprite, because even if you don't get to 7 mana, this has very nice semi-evasive ability. So I think the Sprite is actually the easy pick. I still want to have some 2-drops too. So yep. That's it. And another Hajara too. Well, unfortunately it's not a green-white card. There's a Mistress Bubble. This is a weak pack. There's a Shoot Down number 2 for sideboard. There's a Mistress Bubble, which I can just randomly play. But I'm not even that sure if I need this thing. Do I want to have 2 Shoot Downs in my sideboard? It actually might be better than having the random Mistress Bubble. If I had at least 2 of these Dissidents, yeah, then the bubble would be more interesting. But I don't think I need it. I already have this kind of a cantripping artifact. Yeah, I believe I'll just take the Shoot Down for the sideboard in here. Give me something good. Well, there is something good. There's also Junkyard Genius. I think this might have been a good black-red deck if I just somehow went that route, picking maybe the Gixian Infiltrator that I remember maybe was in the pack 1, pick 1, from which I took Fauna Shaman, which is not, anything like a super, that much better card than the Infiltrator. I could have taken that and maybe gotten a little bit rewarded. Now the question here is, am I going to play the Warlord's Elite or another Giant Growth? I think the Elite is very good with this number of 1-drops. I can actually play it on turn 3, and the Giant Growth might come back. It's fairly early, still in the pack, maybe. Okay, actually I have been looking for this guy. This is also one way to slightly benefit from having artifacts. And this is a 2-drop I still don't mind having, so let's just take it here. Another Excavation. I have a bunch of unearthed creatures. I might consider running this if it comes back to me, but... Or at least I might consider taking it from my sideboard. Probably I will take it if it's still in the pack when it comes back. But now I'm gonna take the Vanguard. Sword of the Meek. Alright. Sadly this is the Scrapwork Rager, not another cohort, which would have been a snap pick. I don't care about the combat courier. I might actually take the Sword of the Meek. Now I don't have ways to sacrifice this, because I have actually many 1/1s that can trigger this. But I might, be able to discard it to the mutt, and a +1/+2 might be okay in this deck. I'm gonna take it at least. Cloud Key, Perimeter. Okay, so actually interesting. Wow, why is this Obliterating Bolt here still? I have an Evolving Wilds. Am I supposed to take it here now? I have a 2 Stalwarts. I could take the Wings or the Patrol or the Bolt. Oh my. I think I just actually prefer the Wings out of this. I want to have these 1-drops to be useful later in the game, and the Wings helps there a lot. So I'm going to take the Wings. But man, I could have just taken the Bolt as well. Another equipment. How many soldiers that is? It's actually a lot. Half of my creatures are soldiers, so I think I could take it. Now, you can play this without soldiers, but this is the kind of deck that doesn't mind. Like I just said, this is just a 1/1 you want to attack with. Well, it's better if it's a 3/1 or a 2/1 flyer. I might even play 2 equipment in this deck. It's not like I'm going to use any of these other cards. You know what? I'm just taking the 20 gems now. I haven't ever, I think, sideboarded this in a draft. It's just too expensive, especially in this deck that doesn't have a lot of power stones, or any actually. So 7 mana is too much. I'm gonna take the 20 gems here. And there's a Clear Cutter. I won't be playing another copy of the Power Blade. I'll just take the Clear Cutter. I don't think I'm gonna play it, but it's, I take the uncommon, and it's at least an uncolor uncommon. Uncolor uncommon. Alright, here, but none of this matters really. I guess I could splash this thing if I really want to have this kind of an effect. I can, Hey, I got the Giant Growth back. I'm happy about this. Definitely I'm gonna play both of them. And I got the Excavation. Yeah, with the amount of unearthed creatures I have. And it returns a permanent you control. I guess it can, it can return any permanent. I'm not sure if I don't have any cantrip artifacts like the energy refractor or what's the thing. Oh, I got the patrol, which I was actually picking, but I think I took that was the pack that had also the obliterating bolt, didn't it? And I took the Iron Arch wing from that. But I was actually considering taking that 3-2 for mostly for curve reasons. By the way, I did for this recording I added a little bit of a gain for my mic recording because I think my my voice has been quite low volume in my recording. So if this is too loud, my speech here, I will tune it later. But just if you notice that my voice is now louder, that's because of that. All right. So what do I have here going on? I'm just quickly checking the sideboard if there's something I still want to consider playing in the main deck, because this is, well, I guess the deck is pretty much ready. I think it's 16 lands, and I have now all the cards I pretty much want to be running in the main deck. Doctor Architect, this thing. Yeah, I don't think I need 16 creatures, 8 non-creatures, including Giant Growths. There's a removal spell. Well, this is effectively a creature as well. Couple of equipment to help me maybe push through. The number of artifacts is now 11, so it doesn't really... Well, actually, now that I got also the last big perimeter patrol, I have at least 3 cards that care about it. In addition to the Dissident, I still have the Phalanx Vanguard and the Perimeter Patrol, which slightly benefit from artifacts. Loran has stuff to return for sure. I'm actually thinking about running 15 lands because of the double Stalwart in here. I don't need any mountains because the only thing that cares about red is the Scrapwork Mod. It would be different, of course, if I took the Obliterating Bolt. And I don't use any kind of, draft helpers that, those things that show what's left remaining in my deck. When I play, I kind of want to keep it genuine in the sense I have played tabletop Magic a lot in my past, so it kind of feels like a bit weird to have some kind of a list of a list that shows your remaining cards in the deck. That means I want to kind of somehow memorize most of the important stuff in my deck for things like Fauna Shaman. I'm not gonna take a screenshot of my deck and go to check out what is in my deck. I just try to remember all the relevant targets. I don't think there are many relevant targets though. I mean, I don't have any bump creatures here. So, but I do have a bunch of unearthed creatures, because this of course requires discarding a creature. Sadly, I can't discard the Sword of the Meek Incineratus with that thing. But I can discard like a Frontliner and get Scrapwork Cohort, or maybe even just a Loran. I guess the Loran is an easy pickup quite often, especially when I do discard an artifact. But yeah, I think I recall most of the creatures in the deck. There's not much to remember. But I actually think I might have a 15 land deck, yes. Because... yeah, this is 3 equipment, but it's also 16 creatures, and all of them are very cheap, so... I do want to enhance my 1/1s, so that these are doing something in combat later in the game too. And the card I'm actually thinking about having, maybe there's like a couple of options. It could be a shoot down. It could even be the Thanos Tinkering, because I kind of feel like nowadays that people are not going to play around the card because it's so bad. So you can get surprise people with it, and especially if I show this in game 1, I can just sideboard it away. Because this deck can maybe use the additional trick here still. Another option is the riposte. I can play it in the main deck. Probably not the Blanche Wood Armor, especially if I'm not gonna play more than 15 lands. I think it's gonna be 7/7 plus the Evolving Wilds. Although with double Stalwart, I might actually play 8/6, so that I have 8 forests. Yeah, because of the Stalwart, it makes sense. Well, you know what? Let's try the Tinkering, and then I can always switch it with a Shoot Down, which might be very useful against certain kind of decks. So this is the main deck. Just put the lands now. Yeah, I could sideboard this thing in the ripostes. I could sideboard this in... Now this only works on my turn. So I don't have anything that cantrips on ETB or anything else that's great as an ETB. I guess I can, continue getting triggers for this thing, but this is like a one card. If I had, 2 or especially 3 of these dissidents, it might be a reason enough to play the excavation to just keep, replaying some cheap artifacts. But it's only 1 now. So yeah, I guess I can, recast this thing, but it's pretty expensive, 3 to return, 4 to recast. Yeah, I don't think it's quite worth it. So this is the main deck indeed, and I will have 8 forests to make sure I have the Stalwart mana up, and Stalwarts will help me cast any white spells, hopefully. Okie dokie, that's it. Okay, my 15 land deck is getting fall under starting hand, but I guess I can play the Wings on turn 2, then the Sentence feels cry, and yeah, I'm gonna keep it. Opponent also did mulligan to 6 there, so I might have a little bit time, but I mean, of course I can cast now all the other spells except for the Tokazi's Onulet with this mana. I don't have double white, plus I did draw. I mean, if this were drawn in a different order, that would have been fantastic, but this is still very, very good that I draw some actual, board affecting plays here. So that was lucky, definitely. I could have just drawn 2 lands and been very sad about it. Okay, that thing is something I really want to put the Prison Sentence on. Now, I want to play the Dissident before I play the Wings, so I guess I could play the Stalwart still and the Dissident on this turn. The next turn I can use the... Yeah, that's right. I can of course attack here because it's a free attack, but they are not gonna block. Unless they really want to use up a trick from me, but yeah, this makes sense now. So next turn I actually will have mana for both the Prison Sentence and the Wings because of the Stalwart. Assuming of course the Stalwart survives here. I can even, tap the Ironouts Wings. Okay, they're going for 1. They might have the Moment of Defiance there to gain some life and gain a counter on this thing. That's exactly what they have. They also might have ways to sacrifice it, so the Prison Sentence might not be the greatest answer, but of course I do need to get rid of this thing because it will get out of hand. So yeah, let's how do I do it? Not sure if I wanna... I mean, I'm gonna give the counter to someone, but is it going to be the Vanguard or the Dissident? I guess I can make the Dissident always fly with the wings, so let's just give this guy the counter, because of course this is very valuable. I have enough artifacts in the deck. So that I will get more triggers out of it if it survives. Well, there are many options. I think I'm just... So let's see, next turn. I will draw one of these. I guess if I move around the wings, I can play the frontliner and then I can use the power blade later on. I think I first draw the creature here. And then I can attack for 5, and at least so far the Anointery has been shut down. I also have 2 of those scrapwork cohorts, which, make those 1/1 tokens. So the fact my deck actually has 3 equipment might not be such a big drawback because I don't think I'm gonna often have a lack of creatures. Skull Flare, which won't be doing much anytime soon. So now I can just make this guy into a 4-power creature, or I can just make it fly. Let's see how I'm gonna do it actually. I know that for next turn I will have a trigger from the Power Blade still. I don't want to put all my counters on the Vanguard because it's already gonna be a good 4-power flying Vigilance guy actually. So if I'm not going to do it... Yeah, they still have too many cards in hand, they just remove it and then I'm sad. I'm gonna do it like this. And then I'm still playing this pre-combat, of course, because it gets its own trigger. But I'm going to actually give the counter on the frontliner. That's the card they're least interested in removing. So let's attack for a 5 in the air. And now they do need to deal with the Vanguard somehow. Do I want to move around the equipment? I don't think I have any reason I can use the Power Blade on the next turn. They have some jump blocks from the Revenant, but it's quite slow to use this because it enters tapped. Curate for the Anointer. They don't have... If they have a way to sacrifice the Anointer, they don't currently have anything to return with it. It returns anything that has mana value equal or less than the... Okay, they actually have now one thing to return, but... I guess they might just unearth the courier if they don't have an answer on the... basically what they need an answer for is the Iron Knight's Wings, and what we know about blue and black is that there's no permanent answer for artifacts. They can bounce and counter or stuff like that. Okay, so now that they have this thing, it's not a threat anytime soon. I'm gonna play this, of course. I'm just thinking if I'm gonna give the frontliner another counter, because then it will just trade with something. But I can return it with a Disciple of History. I guess I'm gonna also, yeah, give the counter to the Vanguard. And just, you know, because this will die anyway, so I will lose the counters. I'm gonna give the counter on this thing, and then I'm going to actually just give this. The frontliner gets the equipment here, and now I can attack for 7 in the air. Because of course I can pump the Vanguard here, and they can either jump with the Revenant or trade with the third path Savant, getting closer to the Skull Flare. The thing is that, yeah, if I gave this thing a counter, they would have just double blocked with the 2/3s, so I still wouldn't be able to kill both of them, and this would still die. Let's equip this thing. Well, this is already lethal, but there's no way. I mean, I don't care about blocking here, so I'm gonna equip it. These are all soldiers. No, this thing is an artificer. Okay, so maybe let's give this soldier. Because the Dissident is still going to be the... I mean, if they're gonna remove a creature here, it's gonna be the Vanguard, then the Dissident, and the Stalwart will be the last thing they are interested in removing. So of course they are not digging for an answer. If it's a sorcery speed answer, I can still re-equip the wings here, so it has to be an instant speed answer, or a flyer of their own, of course. But I don't think they can trade with, they can mostly jump block with flyers. They might have a bounce on their sentence though. They can have a March of the Machines. That would be the worst outcome for me. Then, yeah, that's... Well, let's see how this goes. Because they do have 2 ground blockers here. That means that I can't really push damage with anything else than the creature that has been equipped with the wings. But I guess if they have a March of the Machines on the sentence, if I give this another counter, it won't even die. Okay, they have nothing. Okay, Iron Knight's Wings. Shoot down. That will exile the Anointer. It will exile the Clay Revenant too, which could be actually in some cases something I want to do. I might actually, yeah, just get rid of the Tinkering and play 1 shoot down. Probably not 2 unless I see something, you know, more good targets, but now I saw two targets. Well, one which I absolutely need to get rid of, and especially if I get to exile it, I'm even happier. But also the Revenant can be an annoying jump blocker, so it's not the worst to exile that, and they easily have other flyers slash artifacts, so that's a good sideboard idea. Then do I care about that? This is actually quite good against opposing lockdown auras. Blue has the Wigstone subjugation, right? But I didn't see them. But that's also one thing you can sideboard. If you see several of those from the opponent, it's a good idea to maybe sideboard this in. But now I don't think anything in my deck is particularly, anything like more amazing here. Is the Drake gonna be? Because it seems like flying is very good here, but it's just a 2/4. I'm just going to use this deck for now. And if I feel like I need another flyer, well, then I guess I can still sideboard in the Swift Gear Drake. Okay, now I get good curve out 1-drop, 2-drop. I don't have the planes, but of course all these are colorless and I can play my Giant Growth. This can take me closer to planes. But am I gonna ditch a forest? Well, it really depends on what I'm gonna draw next. If it's a 4th forest, obviously I'm gonna ditch that. Okay, I'm expecting some Mightstones animations now. Okay, that is gonna get me a plane. So what I can do, I still want to curve out, of course. So I'm going to play the Mutt here. And I'm gonna discard the forest here. And I might not have a play for the next turn. But I already have board presence and I can use the Giant Growth. So that could be my play. For example, they play a 2/3 now, which they did. So now they have the choice to either lose it or just take. Actually, it's gonna be 4 damage. So I'm happy about either outcome. Now I can exile these things if they have a Mightstones animation they did not have. Now they have 1 mana up, but it can be any color thanks to the chromatic star. So I'm figuring out. They might also go for double block. Giant Growth won't save my creature then. Oh, they're actually gonna do that. Wow. Well, if they have 1 mana interaction, and much of the machine isn't 1 mana now, it requires you to control a artifact creature for making it a 1 mana spell. But yeah, they had nothing. So now I can of course just attack with everything and use the Giant Growth, I suppose. Although I think I'm more interested in just... they are gonna get a card from this thing. So if they do block, I have to use the Giant Growth now, and then I can play the Vanguard, the Vanguard can still attack into the Savant. The problem is my smaller creatures can't attack into the Savant. But it's safer to use the Giant Growth right now, when they are tapped out. So I will anyway deal 3 damage, because if they block with the Mutt, I'll just let it happen. They chose to not even block there, so... yeah, let's play the 4 mana card. I miss out on some triggers here, but it's actually not really such a big deal. I believe I will have more triggers for this thing, so the Savant shouldn't be holding back the Vanguard that much. So do they want to draw a card from the Wellspring? I believe they want to. It will fly, I can't block it. I'm not concerned of the damage, of course I'm concerned about their ability to stabilize, but if they have like a flyer, I have a shoot down on it. And they also, use both of the artifacts, so if they have a Mightstones animation, that's no longer gonna have a target. So that means they are not having it. Latinum Adept. Oh, they had just drew it, because of course otherwise they would have drawn it. I played it before attacking. So, I can't really attack with... I mean, I can lose some creatures here. Attack with everything, lose a creature, which would be like a 1/1, pushing some damage. I can also just attack with the cohort. Sadly, I don't have the stalwart to make the unearth happen, so I'm not so happy about losing the mutt here. So the worst case is that they block. Well, I guess I can save the mutt if they block two different. If they double block like the mutt. Yeah, it's. I can boost the mutt. Okay, actually, I'm gonna do this. I'm going to lose the. I'm gonna do it like this. Now they can't block the mutt. I mean, well, they can, but it's. I don't care if they now block a mutt. Now they're gonna eat my 1/1s, and I can still kill the Latinum adept, which. Oh, okay, they actually chose to do that. Well, you know, don't think I need to mutt that much here. I can let it happen now like this. They're taking 5, I could deal 8, but they're still... Yeah, I'd rather use the giant growth as a way to push for the remaining damage. If they're willing to go to that low life total here, it's absolutely gonna make sense to, you know, not use the giant growth just to save the mutt. Their guy was dying anyway. So now I'm just, you know, I have all these attackers. Now they still have means to stabilize, especially if they have, you know, the moment of defiance. That's gonna be a lot of life for them. But that would, if they want to have the counter on this thing, they would have to do it on their turn. Okay, well that's gonna give them the counter on the Latinum adept. So if they pass with at least 3 mana, open moment of defiance can gain them a lot of life. That didn't happen. That's not gonna give any additional counters either. I think they... Yeah, they played the land already. This entered the battlefield, so there's no moment of defiance now. Which means that currently I'm having a little attack if they don't have anything for the 2 mana, but that's 4 cards in hand and 2 mana, so... Okay, well the Sword of the Meek is gonna help me. Okay, so they have of course the flask activation up, so that the fact they are getting these priorities doesn't mean anything. And they are in fact... So was I able to... I'm just curious, you can go to the next game, match, there is a timestamp for it, but I'm curious if that... Let's say I can play around 1 bounce spell, or maybe like a disfigure, either of those 2. So, because this is gonna get the 3rd point of power, so what I'm gonna do with the attack, I'm going to equip the... This is +1 power only. I'm gonna equip the frontliner with it, and then I'm gonna pump the 1/1 in here. So I'm gonna have a 3 power, 2 power, 2 power, and 3 power. So they're gonna block the 3 power guy and maybe trade with the... Yeah, I was still... If they had an, you know, a response to the giant growth, I don't think I was gonna win. Maybe I was supposed to just equip the vanguard or something, forcing them to either jump block or trade with the adept. Doesn't matter now. I just realized that my previous draft was in fact a green-white deck too. It was actually a few days between the recording in these drafts. And I haven't drafted any unrecorded drafts either. But I guess it doesn't matter. This is at least a little bit different deck than I had previous time. Well, this is... I think this hand requires 1 forest. But I don't have even that. So let's mulligan, keep 6, and the least interesting card here might just be the Amulet, because it requires 5 mana. I don't know when I'm gonna get there. I will play the Sprite now, because there's a chance that 2-drop will be an artifact creature and I can start... Well, it's also possible they have a disfigure. Fine. But I can play the Thopter then, and... yeah, let's play the Thopter. I could play the Fauna Shaman and the Frontliner, but I'd rather have a 2-power flyer here, starting to deal some damage to them. Recommission gets me the Sprite back, but it's not so good against the Opportunist, because it can still block with a 3/3 Sprite. Which makes me do this. I know I could, you know, discard the Frontliner to get something better. What creature do I want to have? Well, that's actually true. I mean, it's not gonna do much against the 3-2 here. Let's actually not play the frontliner. It's possible they're gonna attack and then, you know, have no blocker for the 1-1, but that's really unlikely. Well, that's of course also possible. They were scared of the someone, but it's, I mean, how they can't know if I have a bomb. I could have a precursor column in the deck. Now I will just I mean, I'm gonna use my recommission now, but again, it's not that good against the opportunist here. I still feel like I should get the Fauna Shaman and get something better with the... That also allows me to... I mean, I can discard the frontliner. And I can also use the Giant Growth here if they have like another confrontation. That would be fantastic for me. If they attack, am I gonna block and... Ooh, yeah. If they have more interaction, they might... Well, that was at least one I visited. It was a 2 for 2. 2 for 2, and I used up their removal there, and I can now... I guess it's time to play my frontliners, because that's all I draw instead of the 4th land for the cohort. Yeah, the Giant Growth would have been, of course, very fantastic to respond. Yeah, whatever. If they have more tricks, be my guest. Just use all your tricks. They're gonna run out of them at some point. It's not like these are usually that great of an attacker when they have something like this. Alright, well, that was the worst possible thing. Well, maybe not the worst, but I really didn't want to... Didn't really want to get a tapped land, but what can you do? Yeah, the 5-4 actually is gonna be able to raise me now. I have some jump blocks from the cohort and I'm still in the game, but they also have 3 cards in their hand. At least that's just a small creature. They have their own top there, so they are blue, black and green. So the blue must be a splash, right? Although they took a second blue. Well... Okay, they are having some kind of spell there. Well, I mean, not much I can do. I just play the cohort here, and I will try to double block the Warblow, of course. They are able to deal 2 damage in the air with the Thopter, so I can't afford to go to 2, and if I'm gonna jump block with the 1-1, I might as well try double blocking it. Problem is they might have a gift of a Gaia's gift, and that feels like it, but there's not much I can do about it. If they have, you know, all the tricks, then they have it, and I wasn't gonna win this game in that case. Yep. So that's lethal damage now. There was no way to do anything. No matter how I block, the trample means that I will always take lethal damage in there. So shoot down, maybe. Not a lot of stuff, but there's the Warblow, but which sometimes is just a 2-drop. There's a Thopter. I think I maybe like the Tinkering still a little bit more, but I also like the Deadly Riposte. Maybe. It's only 3 damage. It doesn't kill this thing unless it's a 1-1. Yeah, I could definitely not have the Tinkering here. I will be on the play, so I try to be the aggressor, so maybe I will play the Tinkering on the play and then maybe switch it around if I win this game and I will be on the draw. Right, well, I don't have the 1-drops for this elite, but I mean this is... It's not a great hand, because of course I have so many 1-drops and 2-drops. I should have a play, but I mean it's very hard to not keep this. But I'm definitely giving the opponent time to, you know, even be the aggressor here now. Shift enter here, because I'm never gonna use the Giant Growth here. I don't want a game to stop for a priority. That will be totally irrelevant. But yeah, first game I mulliganed to a 0-lander to a decent hand, but of course if I got the cohort a little bit earlier. But also the opponent had they had a double epic confrontation, and then they had in response to my Giant Growth still they go for the throat. So they had, you know, all those to make my to basically to deal with my stuff. Okay, so they are thinking about what to do on turn 3. I wonder how many options they have there. There's nothing that I can flash except for the white 1-2 flyer, but it's not really a problem for them. Okay, that's nice basic glance. Well, that was... I mean, what's better than this? I don't know. So now I start blocking, wearing them out of their tricks. Yep, I'm always gonna block with the cohort here, it doesn't matter. I want to trade with either the opportunist or with the trick they're gonna use. I'm not taking 3 damage because I'm actually not winning this race now. They just play something that I can't even attack into it, although I do have the giant growth, but this was definitely worth it. Okay, they had no place for now. So am I supposed to play the cohort number 2 or just play the warlord elite, which I can by tapping down the... Yeah, I'm gonna actually do this. The 4-4 is at least a little bit more reliable damage dealer, especially because of the giant growth. So unless they have the Death Toucher, which they might, but I'm happy to trade with the 5-4 Death Toucher here. So I don't think it's a big deal. They didn't sack the Power Stone, which is interesting. So they are just having like a stern lesson here. Maybe they have the rock, the coilless rock. Well, they're taking 4 at least, and then I don't have much good options other than... I mean, this is a good option, but I can play the Onulet at some point once I draw my 5th land. Oh, they had no place, no sacrificing of Power Stone, so they have a 7-drop Boulder Branch Golem. Sure. So I can actually attack into that with my Warlord's Elite. I could actually do the Power Blade thing too, but I don't have mana to do all I want with it, because I will need to leave the Warlord's Elite. If they double block, I still kill both of their guys after giant growthing, so that's fine. I'm actually going to do this. They now know what to expect, and they have all their own tricks, so they are just taking 4 here, because of course the golem gaining them 6 life is pretty amazing in racing situation. Imagine if the opponent was now at 12 instead of 18. Oh well, I can now play just pretty much everything I want, just to fill the board with stuff of all kind. Now I have a white board at least. How much that's gonna help me? They might have multiple golems because they really didn't play anything after the opportunist. They were 2 turns of no place, but I wasn't able to punish them really because this gained them 6 life. So they are still in a very healthy life total. Okay, that I know they have in their deck, sure. And now I can just attack with them. I can attack with the 5 power cohort here. I don't mind trading with either of those things. I know I could attack with the Sprite because I can still use the giant growth because they might block with the Thraxodemon. Actually, I don't mind the trade with the Thraxodemon necessarily, because it can draw them some nasty cards. So I'm actually doing that. They can't block with the Boulder Branch Golem. So yeah, if they trade with the Thraxodemon, that is totally fine. I'm not going to try to use the giant growth there. They have a disfigure, so I might do it now. Yeah, sure. Okay, they block that and draw a card from the Power Stone, I presume. Could still have a guy as gift. Nope. Alright. I have a couple of cohorts, so as long as they have no means to I was saying no means to deal with my graveyard. Oh, they actually attack there. That is really... I'm actually going to not block here. This is a bit risky because they might have the trampling attack at some point. I could jump block with this guy. But if I draw a land now, I can actually attack with both of these cohorts now, assuming... Oh, sadly I didn't draw the land. The problem is that they can get rid of the other cohort. Yeah, I can't really attack into this guy. Maybe I just have to live with the fact that they're gonna get one of my cohorts, you know, dealt with. I really wanted to draw a land because with the Stalwart I could have, you know, double unearthed and then deal, you know, 6 to them with the 3 power unearthed creatures. Now I can do that like with one guy. Don't like it at all. Well, I guess it has to happen regardless that I attack with one of those guys. And am I going to attack with everything? Of course, this is a nice amount of damage, although I can make the sprite into a 3/3 by the frontliner. Yeah, I'm actually going to attack with everything here. Well, except for the Stalwart, which is gonna play the phone or someone post-combat. That's fine. If they wanna block with 1/1, like the frontliner be my guest, they will take at least a bunch of damage. And that happened. Okay, so they get now rid of one of my cohort, but I think the attack with the golem was a little bit risky. Yep, sadly I can't have that. I will tap down the power blade to still have access to the 1/1, because now if they are going to attack with the golem, I'm gonna jump block with the 1/1. I'm not going to lose to the Gaia's Gift trample again. That's what I thought. So, I can get me the flyer with this thing. It actually is interesting that it might be the one I want. That's not a soldier, so unearth this. Because I can, you know, still have an unearth up here. I actually think that's what I should do. Thopter here. Dealing damage. Next turn I can have a pretty good attack, including the unearth Onulet here. Let's see if they have another Boulder Branch column. No, they had a Rust Goliath, so much of the flyer, but is this a lethal attack regardless? Because they have only 2 blockers now. So, because I have the Onulet and the Giant Growth, so I believe it might be... They basically block my 2 4-drops. Oh, sorry, 2 4-power creatures, and then they take... this is basically a 2 power, so 2 4... Yeah, with the Giant Growth it's gonna be lethal. Yep. But good to know about the Rust Goliath. I think I'm going to sideboard now. The things that exile those guys. Yeah, this is 8, but now it will be 11. Okay, so did I see... I don't like the Recluse, no, messing up with my Unearth, but it is what it is. Yeah, I'm happy to exile either of those guys. So Tinkering goes away and I have 1 shoot down. Do I want to have another? There's a chance I draw them both. And they might not have, because it's not like they have a ton of artifacts there or enchantments. But both of these are pretty unknown. Now this will still gain them the life, but this is just a very good blocker on all my stuff. So I'm thinking about... Now maybe the 1 is enough. I have the prison sentence here too. Yeah, 1 is enough. And I don't think I need to have the excavation or anything. Nope, this is fine. Might have even been better off not cutting the 4 mana trick, but I don't know. I have 2 giant growth still and 3 of those equipment that increase the power of my creatures, so... I think, yeah, the shootdown is pretty clumsy. It's a sorcery speed, 4 mana spell. Yeah, I guess they had their own reconstructed top there, but I'm not really worried about that thing. It's not that amazing of a blocker. And I am the aggressor in this matchup for sure. Okay, well this is a reasonable enough hand. I have a 2-drop and at least castable spells, although I'm not sure if I want to have all those giant growths early in the game to use all of them, but if I have to, I will. They have a prowler here. Do they find the swamp? They do. Well, they have 3 lands there. Okay, so this elite can be cast on turn 4, most like... No, I do always need a 3rd land for it, so yeah. Am I losing my sprite? No, they have an infiltrator. How much sacrifice stuff they have going on? I don't know. Well, I'm gonna do this. I know I could play the Sword of the Meek, but there's still a chance I draw something like a Mutt, allowing me to discard it. I don't want to use 2 mana to equip it. Okay, so let's see if they have again the Gaia's Gift. It seems like they, or they, you know, go for the throat. Yeah, this is a deja vu. Oh well. Oh well, oh well. Okay, well, this is at least a good one to have. But man, my giant growth kind of feels like wasted when they have also the go for the throat in addition. No, that's too good. I'm gonna get some counters from that thing. Well, there's the food for my thing, but sadly. Oh man, I kept a 2-lander, I haven't drawn it. Now this is a 15 land deck of course, but I still have drawn 5 cards. None of them was a land. I'm not exactly dead yet, but... Well, I'm gonna... The Stalwart is gonna add me mana, so let's do that. But I have to take the damage now. It's not like I'm gonna block with either of these guys. I'm taking 5 here. Well, that is the risk when you play with low land count, but I only need 1 land to maybe kill this if they don't have a Gaia's Might. Come on, land. Yes. Perfect. And they didn't have a Gaia's Might. So now I take 4 damage at least. They might, you know, have something like an Evolving Wilds, but I should be now in a fairly decent shape because I can start playing my stuff. Okay, that's not what I wanted to see necessarily, but I need to raise them fast. I think that Onulet is still gonna be the thing I'm gonna have here. Sure. And who's gonna get the counter then? Does this need to be a 5 power thing? No, it doesn't. I'm going to... I might still need the mana from this thing, so I'm gonna just, you know, give it a Dissident. Hopefully they don't find the second confrontation quite yet, because this Dissident still has work to do. They don't attack. They could have attacked with everything to, you know, force me to go to 4 here. Let's see if they have a Boulder Branch Golem. I do need to get a bit lucky here for sure. Because the Thopter is gonna win me. Win the game, not win me in a couple of turns. Fauna Shaman can find my own Thopter, but it's a bit too slow maybe. I have 5 mana up. So what I can do, I can use the sort of the meek here. I need to leave some blockers. I can't just leave. I mean, they can take the amulet. They don't have to care about it. So I think I want to give my Dissident an additional counter. I can do it with the frontliner, I suppose. Let's do that. I can... No, I can't. No. I can't play the elite here without, being completely without blockers or not doing any attacks here. So I have an option, so I can play the Sword of the Meek still. Sword of the Meek can still be played here. And then I don't have to attack with the frontliner if I don't want to. I mean, they will block with the Thraxo Demon. It's gonna give +1/+1. But the thing is, I can play a Fauna Shaman post-combat. And that will be my blocker then. Or I can attack only for... No, maybe I'm not gonna do that. I'm going to attack here. I'm not gonna tap the Stalwart, that's the thing. I wanna have 2 blockers on the ground, guys. So this is gonna do the thing here. Whatever it's gonna be... I don't think they're gonna... Well, let's give this a +1/+1, why not? I do have the Giant Growth if they have some. I guess if they double block the Dissident, I let that happen. Okay, they go to 10 now. And then I will have the Fauna Shaman here. And 2 ground blockers. Although if I play the Sword of the Meek, yeah, then I can play the... I can tap the Sword of the Meek for mana. But then again, they can attack with all the ground guys, and that's gonna make their clock better. So it's definitely better. I mean, I need to leave these 2 blockers so that I don't die in 2 attacks. This also leaves me mana up for the Giant Growth. I wouldn't mind the amulet dying. It's actually gonna gain me 2 life if they kill it, but I don't think it's gonna die just like that. So if they draw a Boulder Branch Golem, I think I'm dead, unless I also find an answer for the Thopter. I still have, for instance, the Pacifism Aura, and I have my own reconstructed Thopter. But if they gain 6 life and get a 6/5, that's gonna be the worst. I guess the worst based on the cards I have seen from them. So unless they have, power increasing abilities, they are not gonna win on this or the next turn even. And they are gonna start to have trouble. I mean, they might have a little bit of a flood here. So... I think I'm going... I don't need the... Well, I guess I could discard the Warlord's Elite and have my own Thopter. I mean, to block this guy. It's not the worst idea, actually, but... It's also... I think I'm still playing this thing. Because I could give the counter to the Fauna Shaman. Then post-combat I can still play the Elite. Because I can tap, I can play the Plains, use the 3 mana on this thing and then tap the Stalwart and the Sword of the Meek. Yeah, I feel like I'm gonna go for the aggressive play, not for the play that trades with the Thopter. So let's go now, because I'm not dying to their next attack unless they have a way to deal the additional point somehow. They can, of course, sack the Infiltrator while they are doing the block here. This is also gonna be a lethal attack now, if they have nothing. Am I gonna go for it? They actually are gonna die to a Giant Growth now. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. They don't have go for the throat unless they have two of them. This is 3 plus 4. I'm gonna go for it. Whatever. Let's go for it. I'm gonna target the Onulet, so if it leaves the battlefield, like they have a bounce spell, I gain 2 life. So now let's see what they are gonna have. They're gonna have a... They are having actually another go for the throat there. Wow. But they didn't sack the 3 constricted top there. I can't cast the elite here, but I can equip at least this guy. Yeah, they sacked the flyer here. Not the... Yeah, they wanted to trade with my... Well, I guess I made them use their go for the throat. And they have no attacks now. They can attack for 2, so I die if they have +2, of course. But they can attack and then... No, but if they draw a card, then they have no blocker. They need blocker for the Onulet for sure. Sadly, the Stalwart isn't quite lethal now. But yeah, the double go for the throat. That's a good set of uncommons. Okay, so they're gonna have something. Excuse me. That's a jump block. No discards though. Well. Okay, that's good. Wow. Sorry about that. Okay, I don't know what the heck was that. I had to clear my throat, but well, I mean, I didn't need to really explain much at the end of the game what happened. Opponent clearly was flooding a bit, and well, I had more stuff than they, but then again, I did, miss some land drops earlier in the game, so of course that means against the flooded out opponent, I will have more spells in my at my disposal. Okay, this is fine. I haven't really gotten the turn 3 elite, despite having 4 1-drops. By the way, the opponent made me go first? They won the die roll. They make me go first. Wow. Okay, let's see what I'm gonna discard for the mod. So the opponent is playing 1-drops, and they made the other guy go first. I'm gonna discard the Onulet here because, well, first of all, it's not castable anytime soon, and I can get it back with the Disciple of History. So, yeah, that's usually, if you are playing, decks that has 1-drops, you want to be able to be the first guy who plays something. Alright, so what I can do here now is, well, not much. I kind of want to cast the Elite. I don't have 2 other things to tap for it, but I can, make this trade happen and then exile the frontliner for what it's worth. I'm not going to use the giant growth, obviously. And then again, I can draw a card with this thing, and I should do it right on this turn, because I might draw a Citadel Stalwart or one of my own frontliners. There are actually 4 1-drops I can cast creatures. if I just leave the forest open. Okay, they actually chose to not block. I'm sad. I'm still playing this thing even though I miss out on the unearth thing, because this is also something I can... No, 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 what the Yes, it's a mandatory exile. I just exiled my own unit. Still, I'm gonna draw the card. Maybe I have a 1-drop here now. And I can still return the Soul Guide Lantern, but that was bad. It's any graveyard, and it's not a May ability. If there's only one target, oh boy, that's so bad. I so wish the opponent blocked, but they actually wanted to save their own guy. I mean, they want to do the 1 damage with it rather than trade with my 2 powder guy. Well, let's not get too desperate here. That happens. I made a clear mistake, but it is just... it is what it is. They might also be holding a counter spell, but I'm still gonna attack here and just play the Loran here. If they counter it, then they counter it. The other option is to play the Perimeter Patrol. But no, it's the most mana efficient thing I can do. I also could have not attacked with the Mutt and tried to cast the Elite so that I tap the 4th land and the Mutt. But that makes no sense. This allows me to deal some damage too. So let's see if I'm gonna get... I guess exiling the Theonulet isn't such a bad thing if this gets countered, but it's still bad because this, the 4 mana unearth is very good too. But okay, this doesn't get countered, so let's just not make that mistake again. Alright, so that thing isn't such a big deal. I have a double giant growth, so I can attack into it. And I can just, attack with both. If they block with both on the Mutt, then I can just trade with the frontliner. If they put only the Adept on the Mutt, I can save my Mutt with the giant growth. And kill the Adept. They can't just keep taking damage. I'm actually... With double giant growth, I'm going to also be threatening lethal quite soon if they just keep... I mean, why would they... I don't know what they're planning to do with the frontliner, but they have taken 4 damage because they have refused to trade with the Mutt here. I can still play the Patrol here, and I can, I guess, now exile that Adaptive, just in case. I don't think there's anything. Recommission doesn't return the Adept, but I kind of missed what I missed is the ETB trigger from the Soul Guide Lantern, but it also is now on the battlefield for me to use my Warlord's Elite, so that I can tap the Lantern for it. Okay, they main phase the Coilous Rock, so I'm not sure. Why would they do that? I don't have counter spells. Maybe they just didn't realize it has flash. It happens. Okay, Sword of the Meek. Absolutely, I'm going to... Nah, kind of want to play the Elite though, but... Well, I'm gonna play this for the triggers regardless. Then I'm gonna decide what else to do. Because I think I'm just gonna allow any trades happening here. If they, don't force me to use the giant growth, I can cast the Elite so that I will tap these 2 artifacts. So I could now save my Disciple with the giant growth, but that's not worth it. If they block the Mutt, I'm forced to use my 2nd giant growth. And then I don't have that great stuff. I guess I can post-combat equip. Well, this is totally fine. I can let the Patrol go. They are gonna go down to 8 now. And they still don't block with the frontliner. I mean, how many times that Mutt has actually dealt damage which they could have simply prevented by the frontliner blocking at some point? I really don't know why they are saving it so much. I don't even have red mana available here for the unearth. That's only 3 power they have there, so I should be in a pretty decent shape. I think I'm gonna draw the card from this thing before doing anything else. Yeah, they're holding priority for something, but it could be like a stern lesson. Could be a lot of things, of course, but there's not much. Now I do have the Stalwart, which allows me to unearth this guy, so I should maybe keep the forest in my hand for the discard ability. Well, I don't need white mana. I'm gonna telegraph my green stuff pretty easily here now, but I think the best idea is just to, just spread here things around. They can double block like the Disciple of History, which I wouldn't even mind. I'd really want to use the Giant Growth as a means to disenchant on the mud. I really wish they would have done it on the Sword of the Meek, because of course I would have gotten it immediately back with the Stalwart. Okay, now a double block is... Yeah, I'm gonna... They could have a March of the Machines. What's the... That's not the card's name, it's something else. Well, the bounce spell. It's 1 mana for them right now. But I think this time I could just trade with the retrieval unit though. But I'm gonna save my guy and kill both of their guys. If they have a bounce spell, then if they bounce the Loran, it's actually quite good because I can re-trigger it. That's the point. But now I can do this. Next turn I can unearth this guy. I can make both Loran and the Elite into lethal. Well, this is already a lethal attacker. Loran can also be a 4-power creature, so that means there are 2 creatures that they already have to deal with, unless they gain life somehow. And I can still have a hasty Mutt here. Okay, that deals with 1 creature, but it only trades. So I can add... Okay, they had nothing, so of course they are just losing then. But I was gonna add red here by tapping the Sword of the Meek. You can of course always tap the equipment. The equipment being tapped doesn't, prevent using them in any way. So I could have added 2 power haster here and probably just put the Sword of the Meek on the Disciple of History, and then they will have to, trade with 1 4-power creature, bounce the other one, and then still take 2 from the mat, and I get a fresh card. And yeah, that was easy. Now they have a disenchant, they have a Coilless Rock, good to keep in mind. They have some artifacts. They have the Mindstone's animation, which means that Thonos' tinkering goes away and shoot down comes to the deck. This also deals with the rock. I might even consider playing 2 shoot downs, but I'm not really a fan of exiling the stone retrieval unit or the frontliner. I'm more interested in just exiling the rock or the the animated power stone, or whatever thing they animate. So 1 shoot down is enough for now, and well, they are going to be on the play, but are they going to be that aggressive? I don't know. I didn't see really cheap flyers or anything. This means I'm gonna just use this deck with the 1 change, and hopefully it's gonna be enough. Okay, I'm close to a turn 3 Elite, and they'll still let me go first. I don't understand. Of course, this is a keep now, and they did mulligan too. They are playing a 41 card deck. Okay, so any castable spell that costs 1 or 2 mana allows me to play the Elite on turn 3. Let's see. Nope. So that means my turn 4 will be the cohort anyway, so I guess I'm just gonna offer the trade here. Get the planes with this thing. I don't really need more lands. I have a Tokasia's Amulet as to my only 5 mana spell in the deck, so even if I didn't draw any lands here, it's good news, but nope. Alright, so am I gonna scry here? The cohort will of course block the the 2/2, so yeah, I think I might. Although let's see, my turn 4 will be this thing, turn 5 this thing. There might be a long time before I'm gonna be able to use this, but I'm still taking the 2 damage. It's just not a threat enough of a threat. If it had flying or something, yeah, I would sentence it, but I don't even need to scry that much. Of course, any further lands will be just totally irrelevant now, but I can still, get rid of my extra lands whenever I scry. Burnished Heart. Well, that's a 3-mana 2/2, and they played it post-combat, so opponent is kind of slipping a little bit. I would be at 17 now, for instance, but okay, and I drew a land again. But I mean, I'm not in any kind of trouble here. If they sack this to get 2 lands, I mean, maybe I'm a bit worried about what they might have, but so far so good. Alright, that I can prison sentence. Am I gonna start pushing for damage here? I can sentence and sprite now. I can just play my... Actually, I like this slightly more now. Let's do this and the elite. Let's see what other stuff they're gonna have. What other stuff they're gonna have now. And then I can play the sentence on the next turn. Or maybe I'll just let these elites trade, who knows. Well, it really depends on what they have. The sprite now will be a threat if it survives. Do I want them to have access to the looter now? Because this game is slow, now the looter will be doing something. Yeah, I can't say I like that. My own Aggro sprite will be, doing good work now, because I did draw it into the 7 lands by turn 7 actually. So I think that I can trade this with whatever, however they wanna block with those guys. Then I play the prison sentence post combat on the Power Stone Bridge, because they are almost top decking. I don't want them to get rid of their excess lands. No, that's a good idea too. Okay, well no. They're not afraid of a giant growth. Maybe they saw that I don't have any stops there, so they knew I'm not having anything at instant speed. But yeah, I'm gonna not allow them to do this stuff. Do they have a Loran's Escape here? They seem to have something. Alright, well I'm gonna keep all these. And I think... Well, I'm a bit soft to a Coil's Rock, so maybe I'll play the Amulet first. It's also the more expensive thing. But it's not like... It's gonna matter too much. I'm gonna be able to do one thing. Okay, that was their final card. I can do only one thing per turn for the next couple of turns. It's gonna be either pumping this guy. They got rid of one island, kept the other card. Either I can pump this sprite. Okay, well now that I got rid of the Ursa, that's better. Because this of course prevents using of abilities. That's the entire point. So... The Burnished Heart cannot block the sprite. Okay. They are top decking now. So I could use one turn to make this into a 4/4, then I have the... Because they have currently only 5 power worth of blocking capability on the sprite. Well, I should definitely attack with the cohort no matter what. And I'm not gonna attack with the sprite now, because they will just double block it and I'll lose it. So they can block or take 3 here, I don't care. Yeah, I guess I'm gonna play the Amulet, because them blocking the Amulet is not... I mean, I don't mind trading with the Adept. If they say they block with the Vanguard and the Adept, I'll trade with the Adept, that's fine for me. Okay, they play their lands. Well, nothing really has changed. I can still attack with the cohort and the Amulet. And then I think I will give the sprite counters. They can block and get more lands. Thin their deck a little bit. Yeah, because they do have the Coil's Rock possibility top deck, and it will just eat the Thopter if I don't have anything. So I think I'm going to give the sprite some counters now. at the end of their turn, I believe. So let's see if they keep drawing lands. They just thinned their deck a bit. Then again, my deck has only, I have 15 lands. Elite, okay. I have 15 lands, which means that one of them is in the graveyard, 7 in the battlefield, so on the battlefield, so I have only, yeah, that's 8 total, so 7 lands left in the deck and 18 spells. That's a good rate of spells. Okay, so there's no target for this thing yet, but might not be a problem here now. Alright, so the sprite isn't gonna be... they will double block the sprite now. I don't want that to happen. Cohort is not good against the elite. Unless I do both the cohort and this thing, which I don't think I'm gonna do right now. Let's see how they block. Oh, probably they don't block, but they do. That's very good for me. I'm giving the sprite more counters now. Next turn I can unearth the Onulet and the cohort maybe, and attack attack with the 6/6. And now if they have like a blue or white aura removal on the sprite, I will of course be able to get rid of it with a shoot down. Okay, Phalanx Vanguard, that makes my plans a little bit different here. First I'm just gonna do the sprite thing here. See what they might have. So with the Phalanx Vanguard I get some nice triggers from all of these, so I'm going to actually just play the Vanguard and the Reconstructed Thopter. Now if they have a Coilous Rock, I can shoot it down. Because they seem to have priority for something. Let's see what that is. Disenchant on the... yeah, but they have played all their lands. Why would they play all their lands when they know they have a Disenchant in their deck? Because they now could be looting those lands away. Not good for them. Okay, they're gonna draw and discard. That's... it's still good with the Adept. It's +1/+1 for it, and they even drew a useless land. But I think they shouldn't have played all the lands they had earlier. Now, the Adept will be blocking all my 3 power creatures. But I don't have to unearth them right now. I can just play this to make my Vanguard into a... well, I guess I can exile now the... yeah, I can actually do it like... yeah, I'm gonna do it like this, I believe. I'm gonna exile the retrieval unit so it cannot trade with the Vanguard. It's gonna be a 4/2 now. So I will exile this guy. It's the only target for now. And now this is really, pushing. Is this even a lethal attack? I don't know. We'll see. That's 6+4. Yeah, it's lethal. Oh, unless they jump the 6/6, which would be great for me. Would that even have been enough? Yes, if they jump, because now they prevented 3 damage by blocking my cohort. They wanted this guy to survive. Understandable, of course, but the only way for them to survive is to block the sprite. Then they would have taken 3 fewer. They would be at 1 life, and me having all this stuff, all these unearthers. So yeah, this was now a successful green-white deck, and well, I guess the last round opponent made some slight misplays, but probably given how my draws were in the game 2 there, probably it wouldn't have helped them. But here I still got at least used. I got to use this at least in 1 game or maybe in 2 games, so that it was relevant. And of course the unearthers are really nice ways to push through, and what is important in this, I guess the green-white deck is maybe also in some red-green aggressive version, but especially in the green-white deck, I do like the Giant Growth a lot as a way to keep attacking into their creatures, and also dealing 3 extra damage when that matters. You win the game with 3 extra. That's gonna be a big deal, and that happened in this event too, so I'm definitely happy to run 2 of these in green-white, and I don't think this is the Boulder Branch Golem deck. I saw at least a couple of Boulder Branch Golems in the draft, but I really want the curve to top out. I'm willing to play the Onulet because it's also it has nice unearth option for power from unearth is nice. But this is kinda it. This is how I want the deck to look like when I play green-white. I would have wanted to have more, maybe like more Phalanx Vanguards in here. Although I'm not even sure which cards I would have replaced with them. But yeah, well, maybe like a Tonus' Tinkering could have been a Phalanx Vanguard. But no matter what, it was another Thropy deck. I don't know when it was my last time, but now I got one. And I will see you in the next draft then. Thank you for watching and bye bye.